Here, we have a firefighter being framed as an alien by Herzog. The alien is, as he states, attempting to communicate something to us. The alien, to me, could just as easily be a demon letting us know we should cut off the water so the flames may continue to rise into eternity. But either way, the way Herzog tells us one thing while showing us images of another is what he calls ecstatic truth, and he used this concept to great effect in his early 90s Hell doc, Lessons of Darkness. By the 1990s, Werner Herzog had already been to hell and back by trying to direct Klaus Kinski in 5 films, Kinski having literally embodied the identity of a demon, in my estimation, makes Werner the perfect director to visit hell and record his surroundings, all from a cheaply rented Kuwaiti helicopter flying over the burning remnants of a war that the filmmaker tells us only lasted a few hours. Another ecstatic tidbit of truth. Still confused? Just take these mountains, for example, shrouded in clouds and mist, a planet in our solar system, as Herzog tells us. Yes, very hellish landscape indeed. Now realize these are literally just tire tracks, and that's just smoke from the oil fires. So, okay, Werner, we get it. You make things up in your docs. But why is that? Referring to this landscape as that of another planet within a solar system, with aliens controlling geyser fires and dinosaurs roaming the surface, is all just an elaborate way of saying, you're not going to believe what humans are actually capable of. It's kind of like a joke, a very dry, semi-satirical, not really funny, just a little confusing, German joke, designed to be understood by the snootiest of early 90s grad students at NYU Film or UCLA, to be understood and discovered over tea and jazz cigarettes. Okay, what I'm saying is, it's really just Werner's sense of humor and his sensitivity. He knows that it's boring to hear about the war in Kuwait, and that the images he is after are more meaningful than some fleeting media coverage of this war. This is hellfire. This is true cinema. After surviving the jungles of South America and making it back to tell tales like Aguirre, this was the only thing worth filming for Werner. This was true life at its most horrific, but also its most camera-friendly. And speaking of camera-friendly, look at this shot, which brings us to our next lesson. It is filmed in true cinematic fashion on 35mm film with lenses that make the firescapes seem like moving paintings created by the devil himself. Herzog wanted to capture that cinema and convey it accurately. The entire shot is in focus. Not hard to do when your lighting is flames from Hades. Also, the shots may be slowed down in some instances, giving an even more floaty effect. This is a true ballet with Satan's oceans. The seas of black which Herzog lets us know are all purely oil. Another ecstatic fact when you consider just how much water is being thrown on this land by the demons. I mean the aliens. The firemen, sorry. But again, being told that this is all oil, it makes it more cinematic. You say to yourself, oh my god, that's all oil? And just like that, you're sucked into the story even more. And sucked in will you be. You get to sit there and imagine Werner in this landscape and on that helicopter with his cameraman, maybe one other crewman, and the pilot, who probably speaks neither German nor English. There are legends of Werner commanding the pilots like a war general. Get close to the flames! And the pilots refusing as the heat would actually cause turbulence. I mean, this was actually very dangerous, and that's part of Herzog's brand, especially at the time. He gets into the environment at all costs to showcase reality or fictionality at any and all costs, including potential death. You see, what Herzog is doing here is reframing the perspective of what happened after this portion of the Gulf War. Apparently, the Kuwaiti oil fires, hundreds of wells were set ablaze by retreating Iraqi forces. And in his view, it was a symbol of civilization's capacity for self-destruction. So viewing it almost from a perspective of an alien who's never known planetary self-destruction was sort of the only way that he could convey the depth and the magnitude of the destruction that actually took place on Earth. And he called it a crime against the planet. So he said the film is not about the Gulf War. It is about the landscape after the battle, where the planet itself seems to be wounded. Now, Herzog also believes that terrible things can produce terrible beauty. The towering flames and endless smoke columns resemble something from a biblical or operatic spectacle. This is why he uses music by composers like Richard Wagner, Gustav Mahler, and Arvo Pärt. The music turns the images into something epic and tragic rather than something documentary-like or just a report. He wanted to show the Earth as if seen by an alien observer witnessing the aftermath of a civilization that had nearly destroyed its own world. That's why he presented it like a sci-fi film. And if you know anything about Herzog's work, you're not surprised by this at all, because years later, actually, about 14 years later in 2005, he made The Wild Blue Yonder, which is basically found footage, and then like a monologue, a scripted monologue that he filmed himself, edited together to create his own sci-fi movie, where he didn't have to film any of the sci-fi scenes, so to speak, because it's all found footage from NASA and things like that. Definitely check out The Wild Blue Yonder if you're into Lessons of Darkness. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you about the history of this movie or the history of that war. Herzog wasn't even trying to tell us about the history of the war. He was more interested in the visuals viewed from this crazy perspective of somebody who's never seen sort of a planet so self-destructive before. And he doesn't fail to deliver amazing visuals. If you could sit through 53 minutes of a helicopter flying over, fiery oil wells, and we're not talking There Will Be Blood here. If you're looking for a story, I would look elsewhere. But there are two little vignettes about some tragic, events that took place. So he goes into that, but that's just like, a little interview piece and then right back to the action, or lack thereof, in terms of, Wagner while flying over fire. So definitely don't miss it. This is the New Media Review Weekly. My name's Joe. I just wanted to tell you to watch this movie. It's available for free on YouTube with ads right now. It's called Lessons of Darkness by Werner Herzog. It's the NMRW. Check it out.